Second hearing, City Council will consider for adoption the final millage rate and budget. Madam Clerk, would you take note that all City Commissioners and the Mayor are present at this meeting?
Yes, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, would you read the title of the millage resolution?
Resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, establishing the ad valorem tax levy millage rate upon the assessed real property and business personal property tax rolls of the year 2012.
The proposed millage rate for the city for fiscal year 2012-2013 is 5.6500 mils, which is 0.39% lower than the rollback rate of 5.6723. Is there a motion to adopt the proposed millage rate?
So moved.
Wow, that was motion by everybody. Commissioner Sheehan was the closest by, so I'll say Commissioner Sheehan and Commissioner Ortiz was the second. Rebecca, comments on the millage rate?
Mayor, as you indicated, on July 30th of this year, the City Council approved a millage rate of $5.65 per $1,000 of taxable valuation, so that the appropriate filing could be made with the property appraiser by the August 4th deadline set for the trim notification process. The millage rate is within the parameters outlined by the state formula and has not been changed from the prior year. Furthermore, this millage rate is appropriate for us to move forward to adopt our budget.
Thank you, Rebecca. Madam Clerk, are there any appearance cards?
No, Mayor.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on the millage rate? Discussion among commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion on the proposed millage rate indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. I should note Mark Webster from the Property Appraiser's Office is out. Is that you?
Yes, here he is.
Okay. Let's go ahead through this this part of it, and I'll get you between this and the DDB. Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, would you read the title of the budget resolution?
A resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, adopting the annual budget of the City of Orlando, Florida for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2012 and ending September 30th, 2013.
Is there a motion to adopt the tentative budget for 2012?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lynham, second by Commissioner Ings. Rebecca?
Mayor and Commissioners, the total proposed budget for this year is $953,605,223, including a general fund budget of $354,292,717. That's the same amount as has been included in the overall city budget as presented in the July 30th budget. In brief, there have been no changes since that presentation. The only change in the presentation, not having to do with the budget amount itself, but rather with our schedule, is that the second public budget hearing has been moved from September 17th to September 18th at 5:01.
Questions? Commissioner Stewart.
Mayor, as you know, I've read a statement to read into the record each year, so if you'll allow me that courtesy again.
Yes.
As you know, I have served for many years as the Executive Director of the Christian Service Center for Central Florida. The budget for this year and many years prior to my service in the City Council has included funds that provide a modest grant to the center. The amount of that proposed funding for this year is $22,240. None of that money goes towards the actual operation, the overall operation of the Christian Service Center, but rather to program funding. These funds, however, will not be granted to the Christian Service Center unless and until the Christian Service Center and the city enter into a separate written agreement. Such agreement will come before the City Council for individual approval at some point in the future. I want to make it clear that when this specific item comes before the City Council, I'll abstain from voting on the funding agreement between the city and the Christian Service Center, and will fill out the required documentation noting this information. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on the tentative budget? Discussion among Commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. All right, Mark, come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Mark Webster, Senior Tax Roll Specialist at the Orange County Property Appraiser's Office. Mr. Donegan is currently at the Winter Park City Council speaking about the upcoming property value amendments for the general election ballot. If there are any questions from the audience on property values, I'm available in the hall to assist these citizens. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Mark.
Thank you.
A few years ago, we did have a couple questions, actually. Okay, we will move to our second public hearing. This is the first of two public hearings for the adoption of the millage rate and budget for the Downtown Development Board for fiscal year 2012-2013. At this first hearing, City Council will consider the adoption of the proposed millage rate and tentative budget. At the second hearing, City Council will consider for adoption the final millage rate and budget. Madam Clerk, would you read the title of the millage resolution relating to the Downtown Development Board?
A resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, establishing for the Downtown Development Board the ad valorem tax levy millage rate upon the assessed real property within the Downtown Development District for the year 2012.
The proposed millage rate for the DDB for fiscal year 2012-2013 is 1 mil, which is 6.35% lower than the rollback rate of 1.0678. Is there a motion to adopt the proposed millage rate for the DDB?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Stewart. Rebecca?
Mayor and City Council, the City Council on behalf of the DDB has set a millage rate of $1 per $1,000 evaluation. Similar to the city's millage rate, this rate was submitted to the property appraiser by the August 4th deadline for the trim notification process. The millage rate is within the parameters outlined by state formula and has not changed from the prior fiscal year.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on the proposed millage rate? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk, the title of the budget resolution.
A resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, adopting the annual budget of the Downtown Development Board for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2012 and ending September 30, 2013.
Is there a motion to adopt tentative budget?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Ings. Rebecca?
Mayor and Commissioners, the total budget for the Downtown Development Board is $2,951,931. This is the same amount as what's included in the overall city budget as presented in the July 30th budget in brief. There have been no changes since that date.
Public comment on the proposed DDB budget? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. As Rebecca mentioned, we have set the date for the second hearing to the 18th. Is that right?
Yes, the 18th at 5:01.
At 5:01. That's Tuesday, not Monday. Monday's council meeting we have canceled, and we will be here Tuesday at 5:01.
Mayor?
All right. Commissioner?
I will not be here. I was thinking it was on Monday, and
It was once upon a time.
and well, I will try and hear it by calling my phone or my pad.
Okay. Any further business? or
Excuse me,
thoughts?
Mayor, if I may.
Rebecca?
I just would like to recognize our budget team. They have attended today, so if, just have you guys stand. Be recognized.
We'll have cake at the next meeting. Commissioner Ings?
Hey, yes, Mayor. Before we do adjourn, I'd just like to say that Mark Webster does not look like Bill Dunnigan, but he does sound like him.
Okay. All right, we're adjourned.